Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Secrets to Real Estate Investing. And today is so wonderful, and I know I say that a lot, but I have another awesome female flipper and wholesaler to share with you today. Her name is Wooley. She's out of Texas and has an adorable accent, or maybe I have a not great accent because I'm the one with the accent compared to her, right? Anyway, I met her earlier this year at an event full of flippers and wholesalers, and I just love her and her story, her energy, and I was just so excited to bring her on to share with you, and especially if you're a mom, because she's a mom and she's doing this business so well. So anyway, with that, welcome to the show, Jamie.
Hi, Holly. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for sharing your very valuable time. And as a mom, I know how precious the time is too. It's even more so than I think people who aren't parents. But why don't you give our listeners a little bit of your background and how you started out and how you got to where you are today?
Definitely. So I am from Dallas, Texas. As Holly mentioned earlier, there is a little bit of an accent here. I'm actually from Kaufman. It's more of a country town. Now I'm a little closer to the Dallas area. So just hang in there with this Texas twang, y'all.
I love it.
Yes, a little bit about me. So, I'm a mom, like Holly said. I have an 11-year-old beautiful girl. She started middle school this year. I'm married, and that's kind of the family aspect of it. Growing up, I never knew what I wanted to do. I was in a household with, parents that had 2 master's degrees each. One was actually teaching in education, and my father was actually an entrepreneur. So I grew up going to the office with him in the summers and things like that, and I was always a daddy's girl. And so I never knew what I wanted to do, but I was pushed to, you need college, you need this, and it was never my thing. I did go. I had a golf scholarship, so I did go for about 2 years. But as they like to say, I was actually out more than I was in during those 2 years. It just was never for me. And so after, my short period of somewhat college, I decided, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself? And my husband and I ended up having Madison. She was a blessing. So she came early, and I stayed at home for 4 years, and that was really, really important to me to have that time with her and to stay at home with her. And I loved it so much, but I was so ready to get out and to do something. So I started a golf marketing company. And here in Dallas-Fort Worth, the golf marketing industry it's been ongoing for a while, and the players that are in that, aspect really had a strong foothold on it. So I was making money, but not anywhere close to the money that I wanted to make and my dreams and my goals. And so I ended up working for my dad. He said, hey, why don't you come work for me for a little while? Just do some office stuff, figure out what you want to do, go from there. I'm like, okay, yeah. I thought, 6 months, a year, nothing, no big deal. It ended up being an 8-9 year stretch.
Wow.
Definitely. So, during that time I was doing all kinds of stuff in the office and pretty much running the entire business, payroll, hiring, firing, all that fun stuff, and really got a good lesson in just business 101 with him. But I was, kind of capped at what I was making. I wasn't going to go to him and say, hey, I'm your little girl, I need to make some more money. It was like that was what the position was paid. I was capped. And again, I'm sitting here like, this is not going to get me to where I want to be. And so I thought, what do I want to do? If I could do anything, what would that thing be? And it was real estate investing. At the time, like a lot of women, I was sitting on the couch watching HGTV every single night and just loved it. So my husband and I, we were broke, when we first got married, especially being so young. We bought just a complete clunker and we fixed it up ourselves, sweat equity for 6 months. We lived with his parents and we fixed up the house. And that was the most fun thing I've ever done. Like, I had so much fun transforming the home, and I thought I did it once. I didn't think of it as anything profitable at that time, but I can do it again. So immediately I went and got my real estate license. I took online courses in the evening. I didn't know anything about real estate. I just thought, you've got to have your real estate license, right? So yeah, not necessarily, but I thought that at the time. I got my real estate license and I gave him my 4-month notice. And that's what pretty much catapulted me into starting to do the real estate side of things. So that's a little about me and what got me to here and where I am today.
That's awesome. And what an inspiration for other women who want to do it, because I think this job lends itself to a woman with kids, because it's a flexible schedule. You're not stuck in an office, 8 to 5 every day, at least when you're starting out, and maybe not with a big team like you have now. But at the beginning, it's real flexible. And I know moms that with little kids, the kids are in the car seat, they're driving for dollars, or they've got a friend to come hang out with them in the car while, the mom goes in and negotiates with the seller. I mean, if you're motivated, you're going to find a way to make it work, right?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, my mind was set. It was literally, I was not going to come crawling back. I had trained my replacement for 4 months. I had no option. Like I told my daughter in the beginning, she's like, Mom, it's 8 o'clock. You're still working. I said, well, honey, it's either this or Walmart.
Yeah.
Not that there's any issue or wrong with Walmart, but I mean, the skill set that I had was office, so it's like, it's either Mom does this or I have to go find some job somewhere sitting in an office. And to me, that's like, no way will I ever do that again. Like, I don't care what I have to do. And so, yeah, it was really important to me to, to do something that I loved and that I could have that flexibility, because I love that you talk about, being a mother. It is so important. I was reading the other day, and I think 22% of investors in all investing, areas are women. So you're talking 88% are men. So we're in a very small niche of women. And what's funny is women don't realize what great investors they could be. I think there's a lot of women I've talked to, and like, well, but I'm a mom and I've got this, and I do all of that. I'm at every one of her games. I'm at all of her school functions. I drop her off in the morning. A lot of times I'll pick her up. So it's such a flexible business that you can still be an amazing mother, an amazing wife, and a business owner. In real estate, you can make a lot of money, Holly, as you will. So
yes, you can.
So I'm always, wanting to talk to other women and empower them and tell them that they can do this, like they can make it happen too.
Amen. Hallelujah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk in more detail about your first deal. And listeners, Jamie gave me permission to ask her how much money she made on these deals. So she's going to tell us the details and how much she made.
Definitely. All right. So my first deal, like I said in the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing. To this day, I still probably don't know what I'm doing. I'm stumbling constantly, right? So every week I'm learning something new. I'm changing something up. But at that time, I didn't know how to find deals. I was just looking on Craigslist all the time. I didn't have a mentor or a coach. And so I ran across this deal on Craigslist. There was a woman from Kansas, and she had just put her home up for sale in McKinney, Texas, which is about 30 minutes from where I live. And I thought, well, this looks like a good deal. And I knew how to run comps at that time because, I was an agent, so I knew how to run comps on the MLS. I thought, wow, this looks like a really good deal. So I went ahead and just contracted with her over the phone. And I was looking at the property a couple days later, walking through, and I got contacted by a cash buyer. And he said, hey, I see that you have this property. Would you be willing to sell it? And I'm like, well, no, I'm renovating this house. This is my second house ever to flip or whatnot, but my first wholesale. So the first was a flip. This was a wholesale. And he came along and said, I'll pay you $130,000 for it. And I thought, well, hold on, let me do this simple math here, because I can do simple math. Anything above that, I got it at 90, and he paid me $130,000. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's $40,000, and I didn't have to do any work. I didn't have to mess with anything, no headaches, no stress, no flipping. But this is awesome. What is this? And started talking to a few people, and they're like, that's a wholesale deal. Wholesale, they're like, yeah, you get the property under contract, and then you will sell that contract to an end buyer. And I was like, oh, I like wholesale. And so that was my very first wholesale deal. I made $40,000, and it was the easiest, most awesome thing ever. And from then on out, I've been doing wholesaling and flipping.
That is wonderful. Hey, I'm gonna add this out So starting here,
because
it suddenly got super echoey. I can hear my voice coming through.
Okay.
Second time.
Did you change anything?
I didn't change anything, no.
What the heck? Because I say it and then it hear it through your thing. Do you have earbuds that you can plug in?
I don't know. What if I turn my volume down? Does that help?
Testing. Oh yeah, it's gone now.
Oh, it's the echo is probably from my computer to the microphone. It's
Yes.
echoing. Your voice is coming into the microphone. Okay, no problem. This is
Can you still hear me?
Fine, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we'll get back. Okay, so we're just gonna keep picking right up. So that deal was amazing, and I love that you were an accidental wholesaler. That's so cool. But hey, you were open-minded, and it turned out to be a really good thing for you. So
yeah, $3,000 will open your mind really quick.
Well, and to a lot of people, it's more than they make in a whole year. And
that was what I did make in a whole year. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, score.
That's wonderful. So did you go back and tell your dad and say, Dad, guess what I did? Or were you not yet?
Yes. You know, he has been my biggest supporter. I'm so blessed. Like in the beginning, he was definitely protective, and he knows nothing about real estate. You know, that wasn't his business. No one in my family, you know, does real estate. But he was very, well, what if the market goes up or goes down? And I said, listen, I'm just doing it, okay? And so he's been so supportive, and he loves hearing about all the deals. And now he's got 5 or 6 rental properties from the thing, and now he's doing, you know, buy and hold. So it's really cool, yeah.
Cool, I love it. I love when parents are supportive.
I do too.
So I know, and we were talking before, you told me about your first wholesale deal, which I would love for you to tell our listeners what the term wholesale is and means, and about your deal and how much money you made with that one.
Perfect. So wholesale can mean a few different things to different people. I'll give you my definition, but if you go on Facebook or social media, you can get slashed left and right for your definition of wholesale. So,
Right.
You know, take this as you want, but for me, a wholesale is when I, you know, get a property under contract, I'm actually taking possession of that property, and then I do just a few things to spiff it up a bit and make it a little prettier and put it on the open market retail, the multiple listing, you know, things like that. So actually sell the property to an end retail buyer or even a cash buyer who may want a more turnkey, you know, buy and hold property. So that is what a wholesale deal is in my world and my definition.
Okay, well, tell us about your first wholesale deal.
Yes, so my first wholesale deal was in Garland. It was an older gentleman named Charles, nicest guy ever, and I had planned on wholesaling this deal, so another accidental type thing happened. And so, you know, I got the property under contract, and I went inside just to, you know, to clean it up, to see what we were going to do. And the neighbor actually came over. You know, I said, listen, I'm probably going to list this. I'm going to rehab it. I'm going to list it, all that fun stuff. And so I was prepared to rehab it and list it. The neighbor came over and said, hey, you know, we're looking for a property for my son and daughter. They're living in the house with us right now. I was like, okay, you know, this could be cool. And so, you know, it was a very simple deal. We talked out on the front porch. They went inside. They looked at the property. They're like, oh, this needs a little bit of work. And I said, well, yes, definitely. Like, that's why I'm going to renovate it and put it up for sale. And they were so against that. Like, no, please don't, please don't. And I said, well, you know, I've got to get the right price. So this one was also a $90,000 deal. I got under contract for $90,000, and I planned on, you know, fixing it up a little bit, putting it on for, you know, maybe $170,000, $175,000. And we agreed upon $150,000. So I made $60,000 wholesaling that property. I mean, it was amazing. You know, it was so easy, and that's when I stumbled across wholesaling, you know. So really, all of this has been stumbled across in my 1.5 years of business. It's just kind of, you know, I run into something and figure it out last minute and make it happen.
That
so
is
it was
awesome.
a really, really fun deal. I was really stoked about that. That's $60,000 is a huge deal no matter how way you shake it. So it was super exciting for me.
That is awesome. I'm experimenting kind of, well, my husband picked this deal, but we're hoping to do a wholesale deal. We picked up a house for $135,000.
Okay.
in the Palm Springs area, and I think we're going to relist it for 180 with just cleaning it, because the wholesaler we bought it from, I think we paid him 18 grand. He's like, it will go for 180 all day long, but he didn't have the funds to close on it, where, yeah, I can just, you know, I got the cash for that, no problem. So, I mean, because like people may ask, well, why wouldn't the wholesaler just flip it? Like, and you could have, but you're always weighing cost and benefit. Is the cost and the headache of running the renovation and the surprises that every renovation usually has and the budget overruns, is that worth, you know, the extra profit? May or may not be. Like, take the quick nickel over the slow dime, as you hear investors talk about. So
exactly, most definitely. And you know, here in my market, Holly, and I think a lot of competitive markets, you'll notice that you can do a full reno on it, and you really may even end up with the same profit margins either way. And so that's really kind of how I determine, is once I get the property under contract, I just back it out. What is the best way to, you know, sell this property? Should I wholesale it? Should I wholesale, or should I flip? And I just run all three of those, you know, numbers. Well, we know wholesaling, there's no cost involved, but, and just run that. And once I see where the profit lies and what's going to have to be invested time and all of that fun stuff and the risk, it's really easy to pick A, B, or C, you know. And once you have the money lined up, private, hard, you know, however you've got that money, I mean, you know, it's, you really just get to decide on every property what's the best strategy.
love it, love it. Okay, well, let's move on to what I think my favorite double whammy deal is that you were telling me about, where I guess you were starting to flip and a neighbor came over and one deal turned into two. So tell us about that one.
Yes, this was a super awesome deal. So, you know, like I said, I'm from a small town in Kaufman. There was a property in Scurry, and I was rehabbing this property. And about 2 weeks before the property was finished, the neighbors came over and were speaking to my contractors and said, look, we really like this house. Is it for sale? And, you know, so they called me, and this happens on a lot of properties. You know, people come by and you don't think a lot of it. You're like, okay, great. You know, a lot of neighbors, nosy neighbors, you know, want to see what's going on in the house, how it looks, things like that. But they were very serious. They said, listen, you know, my mother-in-law, she lives in Garland. We've been wanting her to come live close to us. She's getting older, but she doesn't want anything to do with it. But we think this could be the perfect opportunity. Kind of like, could you help me sell her on this? I'm like, well, hold on. Like, I'm going to help, you know, sell you on this. I'm thinking, okay, like I can get a buyer for this. This house looks amazing. The price is right. But you're asking me to go help sell your mother and mother-in-law and why she should move here. So I called her. They said, well, but she has a house that she may be willing to sell. And that, I perked up. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let me see if we can do this, you know. So I met with her. She was the sweetest woman, and she definitely wasn't. Her husband had passed about 3 years prior. The house was way too big for her. It was her and her little dog, Bella, and she, you know, she did need help, but she wasn't really ready to make that move yet. But we talked for like 3 hours, which is what's so important about building this rapport and not necessarily just trying to go out there and make money every day, like trying to solve her problems. So I listened to her problems, you know, what are your problems, and gave her those solutions. She was so relieved and so happy, and ended up purchasing the renovated property. It was a $50,000, you know, profit on that, gross profit. And then I bought her property in Garland, and same thing, made $50,000 gross profit. So one deal with the neighbor coming over to a rehab turned into 2 deals. So it was really awesome. It had not happened to me before, and I never got, you know, a back-to-back deal from one person like that. So it was really fun. Like, it was unexpected, and I was like, okay, great. I didn't have to spend a lot of marketing money for this property.
Nice. I love it. And, you know, I just love when great things happen to great people. And clearly you have a heart that is compassionate for people, and she could feel that. And that's why everyone wanted to get this deal done. People can tell
Definitely.
you have genuine care and concern for them. So, okay, so speaking of care and concern for people, I know you now have a team of people working for you.
I do.
And I wish we had, you know, we could talk all day about, you know, that whole deal, but we don't have time for that. So let's just talk about when someone is, you know, trying to expand their business. talk about the first hire that you made and like the job duties and description you had that person do, and just gives people some insight, into what that looks like for someone that wants to expand.
Definitely. So, everyone's different. Their first hire is going to be, not always the same as mine. I'm going to talk about mine and the whys. I think it is important to know why, though. Whatever you're doing in your business, if it is just you and you're at a point where it's time to hire that next person, that first hire, you need to literally get a piece of paper and write your, pros and cons, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and know, your strengths, and hire someone for your weaknesses. So my weakness was answering the phone. The reason I got into this business was, financial freedom, to do the things I wanted, to make sure that I had time for my daughter, and, all of those fun things that encompass that. And therefore, answering the phone on night and weekends was not something that I enjoyed doing. It's not something I wanted to do. So a lead manager, which is someone who will take those phone calls, if you're marketing, whether it be direct mail or driving for dollars or however you're marketing, you're going to be getting that through email, social media, or phone calls. So someone has to be there to take these leads and do something with the leads. Therefore, if you have it go to voicemail, some people do that, but in the way that the real estate market is right now, I feel it's very important to answer these live and to get back with these people as soon as possible. So the first hire for me was a lead manager. What that person does is answer all of the phone calls Monday through Sunday and any type of lead that comes into the system. They respond to all of my Facebook marketing and things like that. They also post, 25, 30 Craigslist ads a week, looking for sellers and also looking for buyers. I also have them update my cash buyers database. So therefore, when we have cash buyers come in through various channels of marketing that we do, then they're updating that as well. We also send thank you letters to our buyers and our sellers. So something that we like to do is just send a handwritten thank you letter. Thank you for meeting me. Thank you for purchasing this property. Just something really quick and simple. And she'll confirm all of our appointments for the following day. And she'll post all of our deals on Craigslist and Facebook as well. And she will cold call about 200 probate leads weekly. So she does quite a lot. We do not get so many phone calls. I'd say we get maybe 30 calls a week. And I put out a lot of marketing, so like 50,000 pieces of mail a month, and we still only get about 30 calls a week. So she's not answering the phone constantly, so I had to find something to keep her busy. But it's a really important role for me because it took all of those things off of my plate and, kind of catapulted into, having someone do that into where I could, be open and available to do other things that were more important for the business and then, hire other people going forward.
Well, I think it's brilliant. And for our listeners, I know Jamie rattled off a whole bunch of stuff really fast. And if you're like me, you'd be like scrambling, trying to take notes as fast as you can. And guess what? You don't have to take notes. We'll email you her job description for this first hire that she made, as well as some other hires she made, like her whole team. She's really generously, given us that. So if you're interested in getting all those details, you can go to my website for the podcast. It's hardhatholly.com/68. And there you'll be able to download Jamie's awesome job descriptions. And also, you can also text to the number 38470. That's 38470. You're going to text hard hat as all one word. And you can get this download as well as our prior ones. Jamie, you've been so generous with your time, and I know we've got to get you on another call. So let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you, or maybe somebody in your neighborhood wants to be doing business with you too. So how do people reach out to you?
Definitely, yeah. I'm always interested in talking to people about doing anything together, helping them, JV, things like that. I'm actually coaching with Wholesaling Inc. So I'm coaching how to wholesale your first deal, how to build teams, things like that. So you can reach me at jamie@wholesalinginc.com. And you can also go to wholesalinginc.com and scroll down under the About page and book a strategy call with me. And so those are probably two of the best ways. On Facebook, it's Jamie Burleson Wooley. So there's a few different ways to get in touch with me, and yeah, always looking to talk to other investors and people that are looking to get into the business, and love to help, but definitely reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to share what I know.
Fantastic. And we'll have links to everything Jamie just mentioned in our show notes if you're not sure where to find it, how to spell her name. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for your time. You've been so generous. Do you have any final words of wisdom as we're getting ready to sign off that you would like to impart to our listeners?
Words of wisdom. This is official Tom Kroll right here, but progress, not perfection. I'm the poster child of progress, not perfection. So, there's been so many things that have gone great and have not gone great. And you just have to keep pushing and just keep making progress and taking action like every single day. So the biggest thing is, if you want this, figure out what your why is and make it happen. Do not, worry about, I don't know everything. Just do it, make it happen, and take action. And if your why is big enough and your drive is big enough, then you'll totally make it happen.
Amen. Love that. Couldn't be better said. I'm a big fan of that. Take action. None of us know everything all the time. We're always learning, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, thank you again. And listeners, just get out there, take some action. Hopefully Jamie inspired you today and gave you some ideas on how you can take your real estate investing business and efforts to the next level. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you so much, Holly. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day.
Hey there, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like it and click subscribe to get notified of more videos. And you can go to hardhatholly.com for a free download on secrets to finding great deals.